Hi, my friends, I'm so glad that you're joining us again in the class of Straight Talk. I'm Morris Merrill, the host of the show, and we're so glad that you're here. Today we're going to continue the discussion of public education. We have with me today a friend of mine who is all the way from Williamsburg, Virginia, and he's going to be addressing public education as he sees it and what he thinks we need to be doing. I thought it would be fitting and proper, such a beautiful day that we'll bring it outside. The classroom of 503. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to Mr. Raymond. We have Mr. Henry Raymond. Mr. Raymond, we're so glad that you're here with us today. And you tell us what you think is going on in public education. What is it that we need to do to improve public education?
First of all, Morris, thank you for having me on your show today. Not being an educational specialist, but just being an outsider looking into the public education system, it's many reasons that I can attribute to public education somewhat sinking or failing our children. Some of those being overcrowding in the schools, the erosion of talent from the teachers, going from the public systems into charter and private schools. It's not solely a lack of funding, which is attributed a lot of times to the failure of educational programs, but political agendas get in the way. And a lot of times the political agendas of the politicians and the school boards don't match, so that is a sticking point. And I mentioned overcrowding. Also, accountability, parental involvement in the school system is a factor. The talented and gifted programs, I think, could be expanded to include those students who not necessarily been tagged as talented and gifted, but if they're getting the advanced placement classes, for instance, that should be afforded to all students, regardless of their talent level. So those are some of the things I think, in my not non-expertise opinion, are contributing factors to the failure of, and No Child Left Behind, the intentions of that did not necessarily succeed. So that has been a contributing factor as well. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, do you think that the public education system is in time for it to have an overhaul?
I believe it's been identified that it should have been overhauled maybe 10 to 15 years ago, but because of socioeconomic changes, the financial crisis, the swift changes in demographic factors in this country have maybe slowed the pace of education reform.
Okay. Well, look, we appreciate you joining us today, and we trust that we'll be talking again before it's all over.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Class members, I'm so glad that you're joining me back here in room 503. We want to talk about some things that I think will give you some ideas of what we need to be doing. Anyone can talk and complain, but I want this to be a class where I can give you some concrete things that you can think about that will be good for public education. You know, when you go to KFC, you expect chicken. When you go to Burger King, you're expecting a Whopper. Why is it that we can't go to public education and expect a quality education for all of our children? Let's talk about some things that I think that will affect teachers and administrators. Just like air traffic controllers control the air with the plane landing and where they're going to be routed back to, we need some air traffic controllers, which should be you and I, the public, that controls who the superintendents are, who the principals are, who the teachers are, who the staff are. We need to be concerned about who we leave our children in the hand of. Ladies and gentlemen, in public school, we don't do that. In private school, they have air traffic controllers. They decide who the principal is going to be, who the headmaster will be, who those teachers are going to be. They recruit teachers from out of public education. They don't get the teachers who are not teaching. They get the best, the cream of the crop from out of our system after they have been through the process and training in our system and put them into that system. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do better than that. Let me just give you also another idea before we move on. My thing is that why is it that we don't have teachers, administrators, and principals going to other cities across this country to see what they are doing and bring it back to the locality so that we can implement those things that we know are proven and effectively that is affecting the students' outcome? Why is it that we're not doing that? Teachers just stay together. They go to different little cities for the workshop and then they come back home. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think I'm not serious, ask teachers that you know who may have retired or presently there. The workshop that you all went to, that we spend taxpayers' money for you to go, did you come back to your various schools and explain what was working, what was not working? Did you bring literature and materials back that were disseminated throughout the school and that the principal says, we're going to do this, or teachers, we need to do this? I don't think that was occurring. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a bad thing. You know, the last thing I want to say before we move on to another topic, my thing is that why is it that we don't have teachers being evaluated by the students? Let me share with you some benefits if the students evaluate the teacher. Teachers would then have to respect the students. They would have to be a relationship if they wanted an evaluation. They would treat all of the students fair. They would educate all of the students. All of the students would benefit from this if we had students evaluate. If you knew that your class members were going to evaluate you and it was going to affect the outcome of whether you stay employed there, I think that public education would immediately go up. You say, well, Mr. Merriweather, that's kind of far-fetched. Ladies and gentlemen, they're doing it all over the country. The gentleman that was on the first part of my class time, Henry Ramey, was telling me about what was going on in Virginia State. They evaluating the professors. We really need to do something different. We're doing the same old things. Expecting a different outcome, you're going to get the same results. Students of 503, that's you. I'm so glad that you are assembling yourself again for the remaining portion of this class period time. So we're going to make it sweet and short and close this class period out. In a small county in my hometown, not far from my hometown, they let a superintendent go for low morale among teachers and professionalism and not doing her job. And we're talking about somewhere around $150,000 had to be paid to the principal to get her out of the contract. And so they're in the process of looking for someone. But when they look this time, they're going to be looking for professionalism. They're going to be looking for how can you improve on teacher staff morale, and how can you bring new ideas to the table. Ladies and gentlemen, we got too many people that have been on the job in public education that's doing the same thing day in and day out, and board meetings and class meetings. Nothing is happening. Same teachers. They stay there till time to retire, and we don't say anything. You never, as a public, say, or the Chamber of Commerce, or ministers, or sororities, fraternities, social clubs. We need to, one by one, take a look at elementary school. We're going to take a look at this one. We're going to take a look at this one. And we're going to make sure that we're getting what we're paying for. You just go through the motion. Kids come home. You don't ask no question. They graduate. You don't know how much they know. Unable to fill out an application. Unable to read. And then we have drugs into our community. Shooting and violence going on. These are people that know nothing else to do but to try to gain some kind of income any way they can. We as a society are going to have to do more than that. I'm reminded of windows that you spray Windex on. I'm a Windex man. I like my windows to be clean so I can see the real images in there. But a lot of us in the public have dirty windows. We need some Windex so we can see the real image, the real superintendent, the real board members, the real teachers. We need to do something. We need to make sure that we're keeping our windows clean so that we can see and find out that our students are not receiving the education that they should. And those teachers who are teaching their heart out day in and day out, those administrators who are doing a good job, they need to be recognized. We need to make sure that we highlight them. And then we need to make sure that we get rid of those people who are holding our children back. It's been my pleasure. Let's wrap this session up. It's been my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do more. I can come to you every week. But if you don't start saying, I do need to do something because I do care, then we're just whistling Dixie. So, until we meet again, I've been your host, Morris Merriweather in room 503. Please join me again next week that we can continue the struggle of improving public education. We're going to get there with your help and God. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.